Hello, hello. Hope you doing well, my ladies. Let's see if you can see me. And get the ball rolling. Okay, so the sound works, everything works. Welcome, welcome to Thursday. Hope you're having a lovely, lovely afternoon. Today, we're going to talk about people pleasing. Who's guilty? Who's guilty people pleasing? I prepared you a proper full-on presentation because there is so much to talk about when it comes to people pleasing and what are the reasons and how does it manifest itself and what you can do with it. And I thought there is so much information that it's going to be great to have some visuals. Who's with me? Say hello. Say hello, lovely ladies. And let's jump in. Yeah, if we have any questions, then I can answer them later on. And if you're not here right now, you can always see the replay. It will be all saved in our beautiful Activate Your Love Life Facebook group. And if you're not there, you should be. Who is with me? Who's watching? Say hello. Come and say hello. Jen's here. Hi, darling. You okay? Jen did you want to see that presentation as well, haven't you? That's good. Great. I'm very happy that you joined me live. Okay. People pleasing. So when it comes to people pleasing, what comes to mind? What do you think? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? What do you reckon? How do you see it? I'm going to just turn off my phone so no one disturbs us. It's just me and you. Rose is here. Hey, girl. I'm doing very well, darling. Glad to have you here on live. How are you, Rose? How are you doing? So people pleasing, ladies, do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's a bad thing? Do you struggle with it? Or do you maybe have some friends that struggle with it and can see how it manifests itself? We will talk about relationship, especially today, since we are in the group. Rose is good. I'm glad. I'm glad. People pleasing. What comes to mind, ladies? What comes to mind? What do you think? Rose is saying it seems I do that all the time to try to keep peace. Yeah, I get that. Jenny's saying yes, he's getting run over. Yeah. But sometimes what we don't realize that it can be really, really deeply rooted, and it's coming from maybe upbringing, maybe from the childhood. And sometimes, very often, things are so deeply rooted in our subconscious mind that we don't even realize, and we don't put two and two together. Okay, we're ready for the presentation. If we roll ready, I get the ball rolling. Let's have a look. Let me share my screen. Here it is, yes. Where's our Canva? Okay, cool. Just do some formatting. Yes, perfect. That should be perfect. Okay, let me put my glasses on. Without my glasses, I can't see. I've got another pair of glasses. I'm going to show you another presentation where we're going to do. Let's just have a look if you can see my presentation. I'm just checking if you can see me. And we should be good to go. Should be fine. And then I can take perfect. Okay, people pleasing. People's pleasing, and we in Activate Your Love Life, the Facebook group to be. If you haven't met me before, my name is Bea. I'm a love life activator, rapid transformational therapist, and I help lovely single ladies to find love, to get rid of everything that is stopping you and it's holding you back, all the patterns that are keeping you stuck in the past. Get rid of all that and help you manifest a beautiful relationship that you deserve. So today we're talking about people's pleasing, and here's the outline of what we will talk about the presentation. So what's the definition of people's pleasing? What's the psychology behind it? I love psychology, and I love when we're talking about why people do things they do, you know, what makes them tick. That's where I come from. NLP practitioner. Neuro-linguistic programming is about why people do the things they do. What are the signs that you might be a people pleaser? And why being a people's pleaser damages relationships? It can be relationship with your friends, with your parents, or romantic relationships. And how to stop being people's pleaser without feeling guilty. Okay. So just a quick disclaimer before we go any further, please do know I am not a doctor, I'm not a physician. So if you are thinking of starting or stopping taking any medication, please do consult your doctor if you're making any changes to your health decision. Okay, so did you know that people's pleasers can't end relationships? They really struggle with saying no and moving on. So what's the definition? So people pleaser, it's someone who tries very hard to make others happy, okay? They will often go out of their way to please someone, even if it means that their own valuable time and resources is taken away from them. So people's pleasers often act in the way because of the insecurities or maybe lack of self-esteem. I'm generalizing here. It doesn't have to be that everyone who's, you know, people's pleaser lacks self-esteem or insecurities. There are different things, and we're going to come to it, that I'll explain to you where this is coming from. It's someone who cares a lot about whether the other people like them, and always wants to respect others to approve their actions. People's pleasers also find it hard to say no, and they put themselves down just to improve themselves in kind of an exchange for love, in exchange for affection from other people. Note to self, you cannot be everything to everyone. So what's the psychology behind people's pleasing? So people's pleasers often start off as parent pleasers. So people pleasing behaviors evolve as a way of manipulation, as a way of maintaining connection and closeness with parents when inconsistency is available for children. So where there is a disconnection between a parent and a child, and the child early notices that, okay, if I'm being good, if I'm doing good things, if I'm pleasing my parent, the parent will give me love, will give me affection. So that's how the child from early age will try to behave as a people's pleaser. And then often parents, don't even notice. Often parents could be very busy, have a busy life, or maybe busy with a career and stuff, and don't even realize that this is happening in the background. So it could be oblivious to it, what's happening. So while some people learn how to have healthy attachment to people in our lives, others will learn codependency based on how we were treated and cared for, or maybe neglected. So as all of us learn how to form attachments with our friends, with our family, and loved ones growing up, but we all learning in a different environment, we all coming from different backgrounds, and some of us will learn not equally healthy ways when it comes to relating to people. And the family systems we grew up with demonstrated to have, how kind of form and the bond with others. So it depends how you grow up, and if you needed to fight for that affection from a parent, do something to be noticed, that's how you will behave later on. So another, when it comes to psychology of people pleasing, if your caregivers, parents, because sometimes maybe where the child is adopted or anything like that, so that's why I'm saying caregivers, maybe they were absent, your emotions was diminished, or you thought that you needed to act in a specific way to earn the love, earn the affection, earn attention from the parent, there is a good chance that you might develop that codependency in your relationships in your adult life. And so therefore, codependent people learn to put their needs of others ahead, the others' needs ahead of their own, just to, maintain that relationship. So parental emotion inconsistency is causes what causes people's pleasing. So when the child doesn't know, okay, what's happening here, there isn't a constant kind of line and consistency in receiving love from the parent, and the child is confused, and they says, okay, well, one day my daddy's shouting at me, and I haven't really done anything, but I notice if I'm a good girl, if I will do things, if I will help out, I will get love. And you see that that child is very it's confused, and that's from that confusion, that's where it starts, the inconsistency. That's what causes people's pleasing at the early age, and the child is not knowing how else to secure, to maintain that loving relationship, and the connection, and she is confused. I will talk about her, and let's call her Holly. Yeah, she will be confused how to earn parents' love, and she's just trying it out. So let's take an example of little Holly. Let's say there is a little girl, and she's growing up, and she's called Holly. Yeah. So little Holly will be a good girl because she has learned that if she's a good girl, she's behaving in a certain way, she's not messing about and whatever, she will get affection. Yeah, so she thinks she lives, as she thinks parents want her to be in a certain way, and she thinks that there is that expectation for her to be like that. So if you think about people's pleaser going into an adult life, you still think that people have an expectation of you behaving in a certain way in order for you to gain love, in order for you to gain that affection. It's because of that, because that's originated in a childhood. So often that little girl will become high achiever, a perfectionist, because that's what she thought was expected from her. So she becomes, though, less interested in exploring herself, in exploring actually who she is. And she's more interested in learning what others want her to be, just in exchange of that feeling, just in exchange of love, because she thinks that's what's expected. She doesn't understand, maybe this is not what's happening here. She honestly thinks that, you know, I have to behave certain way, I have to be certain way in order to gain love. So this way, what kind of starts being a people's pleaser? So the trouble is that parents' behavior generally, people sometimes don't even realize, you know, parents could be so busy, so occupied with their own lives that they don't even realize this is what's going on in child's life, and this is how she perceives love and affection. So it's quite interesting to see that. Next one for the psychology would be the people's pleasing behaviors sometimes arise from response from a trauma. So that's another thing. If you have been through a traumatic experience, and you have this expectation, like, you know, that again, that you have to be in a certain way, that you have to say certain things, that you have to achieve that much, you have to have certain grades in order to be accepted, in order to be loved, in order to get affection. So it doesn't have to be from childhood, it can be from something that happened to you as a traumatic experience. It could also come from, you know, if you were in narcissistic maybe relationship and there was an expectation for you to be in a certain way, that's another trauma. Self-esteem issues, it kind of messages about your identity from early relationships, again from parents, caregivers, can be difficult to erase those memories, and you're carrying that with you through the rest of your life. And the last one is the fear of rejection, you know, and I think most of us have that fear of rejection. The question is, how big is that fear? Fear of rejection, when you had early relationships in your life and there was a rejection, there was a breakup, and that's your memory of that, then you think, and then you accept a certain way of being, because you think, if I behave a certain way, I will not be rejected, because your brain remembers how difficult time you had, you know, how painful was that experience for you. So you can't change what happened to you, but you can change how to grow from it, right? Every single experience that we have, and even if we think, or even if we see it as a bad thing, or it was really traumatic and a bad thing, you can definitely grow from all these experiences. It is about, you know, taking whatever happened to you, owning it, and think, okay, I know this was a really bad experience, but what have I learned? What can I take away from that experience? Yeah. So here are 9 signs that you could be a people's pleaser. If you pretend to agree with everyone. Okay, I'm not saying that this is exhausting, you know, a list of everything. I'm just giving you a few examples here. So listening politely to, you know, to others people's opinions when you disagree, it's a good social skill, it's, you know, it's normal, right? But pretending that you agree just because you want to be liked, that's where the problem comes, you know. That's it's against your values. If you just agreeing with someone just because you want to be liked, you know, you're not, where is the integrity here? So that could be one of the signs that something's not right. Next one is you feel responsible for how other people feel. I think it's healthy to recognize how your behavior influences others, right? But step away from it. You don't have to, there's no responsibility from your perspective. Why do you have to be responsible for how others feel, you know? It's like thinking you have the power to make someone happy. That's the problem, you know. And that's how it starts as well. It's not your responsibility to make others feel good. Next one is you apologize often. I feel like when you have a people's pleaser, they will be apologizing for even for being, you know, so apologizing for this, for this, for that. And sometimes it's not even your fault, you know, whether you excessively blame yourself or maybe it's the fear of other people blaming you. When you frequently just apologizing all the time and it's kind of a normal thing to you, there is not, you don't have to be sorry for being you, you know, own it. You are a beautiful person. You are who you are. And if there is anything that you don't like about yourself, go on and change it, but you don't ever apologize for who you are. Next one is when you feel burdened by the things you have to do. So this one is you know, when sometimes maybe we want to be liked and we want to be in a relationship, especially when we're at work, and we would go out of our way just to help people, and you know, you don't have time to do it your own. You've got so many other things that you need to do and want to do after work, and then you're taking another assignments, I don't know, maybe for your boss to like you or for your boss to say. It's one thing to do something, you know, because it's at work, you want to contribute to the team and so on. It's another thing to do something and go out of your way. If you're struggling with time, if you're struggling with anything else, just because you want to be liked, just because you want to be part of that, right? So if you are people's pleaser, there's a good chance that your schedule is filled with activities that maybe you don't really want to do. So maybe again, take a step back and think, okay, is everything I'm doing aligned with my values? Is everything what I'm doing, am I doing this because I really want to? Or am I doing something because I want to be accepted, because I want to feel accepted, because I want to please others, right? Simply as that. The next one is you can't say no. Self-explanatory. You're struggling to say no. And here we have another one. Another sign that you could be a people's pleaser is you feel uncomfortable if someone is angry at you. I'm not saying to be in situations where someone is, you know, in your face and shouting at you and whatever. But sometimes we need to be a little bit assertive. Sometimes we need to stand up for ourselves. Sometimes we need to take a step back and say, look, I understand that maybe you're upset, maybe you're angry, but you know, there's no need to shout at me. And you kind of, you know, with being assertive, you also gain respect from this person. So just because someone is mad or angry doesn't necessarily mean that you did something wrong. There could be a situation, but if you can't stand up for you know, for yourself, again, you will be compromising. More likely you will be compromising your values, and that's not what we want to do. That's another sign that it could be a people's pleaser. Next one is you need to praise. You need a praise to feel good. So, you know, while praise and kind words make anyone feel good, right? People's pleaser actually depend on it, depends on that validation. So if your self-worth rates entirely on what other people thinks about you, and you go out of your way for people to like you, you know, are you doing the right thing? If you take yourself out of the equation, and that would be your friend in that situation, and you see it from that perspective, you know, you take yourself out of the situation and you look at the situation from, you know, as an outsider, you know, are you only feeling good when others are showering you with compliments? Or vice versa, you want to please the others and you would be going out of your way and saying to people, you know, you are beautiful, you're fantastic, you are amazing, just to be liked. Next one is you got a great lens to avoid conflict. So again, it's about being assertive. It's about owning who you are and owning your values. But when you're a people's pleaser, you have a problem with that. You know, you will hate confrontation. It's one thing not to want starting a conflict and confrontation, but avoiding conflict at all costs means that you struggle to stand up for yourself. And again, going back, struggle to have that integrity and align with your values. Not saying, you know, fight, but politely just say, look, I'm not getting into that, you know, this is not what I'm here about. And again, it's about owning your values. It's about owning who you are, and don't not being afraid to say it. And the last one, if you don't admit when your feelings, when you hurt, right? You are struggling to say it out loud. Look, whatever you said, it hurt me. That's another sign. So you can't form authentic relationships with people unless you're willing to really speak up. And you know, when you hurt, you should say it, because other people, this is also having boundaries, having, you know, and other people to get to know you. Okay, I will never do that again because I know this upsets you, or what I said upset you. But if you don't voice it, no one knows you're hurting. And, you know, if you just want to please someone and just say, oh, I'm not going to say it because they're not going to like me. You know, that's what I'm saying. Denying that you are angry, you are sad, you are embarrassed, disappointment, keeps all the relationships just superficial. That's not what we want to do. We want to be honest, and we want to build a foundation of a beautiful relationship on honesty and integrity. So when you say yes to others, remember to make sure you're not saying no to yourself. So there is a very high cost when you are a people's pleaser. So it could be a loss of yourself, because people's pleasers edit and mold themselves, if you wish, so much that they will fall out, you know, with who they really are, because you are pretending to be someone else just to be liked. That's why you're losing of that identity, who you really are. Next one is regrets. You know, that's another high cost, because if you are a people's pleaser, you are so shaped by opinions of others that you might be missing out on opportunities of life, and you might be saying no to so many things just because you're thinking, oh, what will they think about me? And you know, also people's pleasers tend to be quite scared to take in a risk, or you know, scared of fear of failure. I appreciate that, you know, we all in some extent have a fear of failure, but if you are people's pleasing, you know, that's even highlights itself more when you're missing out on those opportunities, because you're scared of what people's gonna say if you would fail, or you know, even for you to attempt any opportunities. Next one is low self-esteem. So kind of comes you know, comes with it. People's pleasing it's not someone who's confident, outgoing, and not afraid to say it out loud how he feels. You know, people's pleasers tend to be highly self-critical people as well. So they feel badly about who they are, and they're trying to kind of redeem themselves by having others liking them. So again, you molding yourself, you pretending to be something else just to be liked, and that's not the best thing. Victimizing, so high cost, another high cost of people's pleasing. Victimizing because the people's pleaser have no boundaries. There is very, you know, the boundaries are really blurry. In order to be accommodating, just to be liked, you know, people pleaser would be often a person who's very vulnerable, and could be victimized and manipulated in personal relationship. It could be a relationship with friends. It could be a relationship with you know, with a partner, with a lover, because when the other person will understand and will realize this is a people's pleaser, you know, some people could take advantage of that. And again, you don't want that. Next one is loss of intimacy. Look, it's pretty impossible to connect with someone that doesn't really show themselves as themselves in a relationship. You know, how can you have a connection with someone that you don't really know who this person is? Because this person will just show who they think you want them to be. So it's pretty much impossible to connect, really, really deeply connect with someone like that. Deep resentment, that's another cost of being a people's pleaser, you know. Now what happens when all the anger, when you want to people please, you know, those emotions are going somewhere. It's not like, you know, you're going to be nicey, and all this really emotions like you feeling deep down, they will be inside you. So you will feel resentment, but you will feel resentment also towards yourself, because you will feel, oh my God, I don't know how to deal with this. Yeah. And you will feel stuck, and it will be a vicious cycle. The next one is profound loneliness. So although people's pleasers are often very well liked by others, you know, they are maybe nice in social situations, but again, this is wearing a mask. This is not the person, because a person who's a people's pleaser, they are wearing a mask. They are pretending to be something else because they just want to be liked. Okay. And I'm not saying, you know, it can be, you don't have to be a people's pleaser all the time or anything like that. You can just have a little bit of traits here. What I'm trying to do here, and I think the reason for me doing all those presentations, is to make you reflect, make you stop and ask yourself some questions and think, okay, that's interesting. Is there a little bit of me that, you know, is doing this, and maybe I can stop and change? Maybe I can improve something. You know, no one's perfect, but it's good to actually reflect and look at your life from a different perspective. So how do we stop being a people's pleaser without feeling guilty? So why it's important to maybe, you know, when you're at work and you want to impress your boss, or you just start a new job and you want to show them that you are, you know, great at what you do, or, you know, they read your resume and it's actually true, that's great. But you will never reach your potential, true potential, if you're just going to pretend that you're someone that you're not, and you're just gonna, you know, tell someone, oh, you look amazing, you did amazing, or someone is doing something or showing something, and you will not say what you really think about this person, because you are scared that they're not going to like you. There is a way, and there is time and place to voice your opinion, but when it comes to that voicing opinion, don't be a people's pleaser. Be you, own who you are, go out there. And even if you're risking that people's not going to like you, I always say that, guys, there's 8 billion people in the world. People come and go. And even if someone was your friend for 20 years and now they don't like who you are, well, okay, this is you now. You have to be you. You have to be you for you, rather than people's pleasing. And when you are you, when you have the integrity, and you can look in yourself in the mirror and say, do you know what? I'm not pretending to be anybody else. I am me. I own who you are. If there is anything that I don't like, I go and change it. Yeah. So if all this, what we just gone through, sounds awfully familiar, here are the few things that you can try out to change it. It's that small. Yeah. So everything we learn is how to learn. It's the process, small steps. So today, maybe it was for you to realize, oh, I do a few of those things. Oh, maybe I could mold this. Maybe I don't want to do this, you know. Start small. Maybe start just with one thing, or even reflecting today on what you're doing and how this affects your life. Next one is realizing you have a choice. We do, guys. We all have choice, right? So people's pleasers, when you want to please everybody, often feel like they have to say yes. They have to be there. If someone is asking for your help or anything, if you people's pleaser, you kind of forget, and you think you have to say yes, you have to always be there. But here is a reminder for you: remember that you always have a choice to say no. You can always say, do you know what, I'm too busy. And it's okay if you're tired. It's okay if you don't want to be somewhere. Just say no. The next one is consider if it's worth it. So when you have a situation, and let's say I don't know, you're really tired, but someone asks you to help them, or someone asks you to pick up their child from school or something like that. And you're thinking, oh my God, it's the last thing I want to do. I'm really tired. I just wanted to have a little bit of me time. But because I would like to please this person, and I would like this person to like me, I'm going to do it. What I want you to think, consider, is it worth it? Ask yourself a question inside your head. Is it worth it? How will I feel after doing this? Will I come back home and will be angry at myself and disappointed with myself that I wanted to do something else and I just said yes to something just because I wanted to please another person? It's good to ask those questions. It's good to analyze, sit down, and you don't have to make rush decisions. Take your time. Next one is set your priorities. So this is going back to having boundaries. So maybe take a piece of paper and say, okay, from today, maybe just one. Like I said before, start small. Knowing what are your non-negotiables, what are your values that helps you put brakes on the people's pleasing. Let's be honest, when you feel comfortable, when you're saying yes, when you're saying no. How often, and we all guilty about this, we say something and then we think, oh, why did I do that? Yeah. So let's maybe change that into having more integrity and maybe take a little bit more time to make those decisions and put yourself first. You are the most important person. If you're not happy, no one around you will. So asking yourself, what's the most important thing for me? How do I want to feel? And next one is don't apologize. It's not your fault. So pay attention when you apologizing. Are you apologizing because it's really your fault? Or are you apologizing just because you want to please somebody? Just because you want to be liked? Yeah. Ask yourself if you are the one responsible for the situation. I tell you what, usually the answer will be no. You will be surprised. Take your time to make any decisions. Don't rush into it and ask yourself. And the last one is set clear boundaries and follow through. So if you put something, if you promise yourself, I'm not going to do this, or this will never happen again, make sure that you follow through. Make sure that you go to a situation, if it repeats itself, and then you can come back home and say, do you know what? No, I stood up for myself today. I feel great about it. It will makes you feel empowered, and slowly you can walk away. You can change your life. You're the only person that can do it. If there is something that you don't like, here's your chance. This is you today reflecting of what you don't like, what you're going to change. So maybe reflect and write it down, a few of those things that you don't want to compromise on, and set some clear boundaries. I'm telling you, it will make you feel great about yourself and feel empowered. And people will give you a lot more respect, and people will treat you respect, and will take you seriously, more seriously than they're probably taking you right now. So realizing that you can't be everything to everyone. That's another thing. That's a big one. That's a big one. You will never be everything to everyone. And there is no point of pleasing everybody. There's no point of trying, If you want to break the pattern of people pleasing, recognizing the behaviors that show up in your life, it's the first step towards it. Recognizing this You know what, this is what I was doing, but that's okay. I know now, I know better. That will definitely help you to just starting points to increasing that awareness around what can you do to take yourself out of the situation, and don't do the people's pleasing, and it help you start making changes and start with realizing that you can't make everyone happy and you can't be everything to everyone. So this is you taking a step into your self-care journey today. And remember to smile. Smile, because it's contagious. It's never too late for a new beginning in your life. Thank you. Hopefully you enjoy that. Let me stop sharing. Let's see if we've got any questions. I can't see. You're welcome, Jan. Oh, let me see what you're saying, darling. So true. It's true. Sometimes you don't do anything and people don't like you. Yeah. And you feel bad because you've learned not everyone is going to like you. And that's okay. Exactly. There's so many people that won't like you, won't like me, but it shouldn't stop you going out and living your life and being who you want to be. When I started like a YouTube channel or even this group, I do realize not everyone will like me. I do realize, but it's okay. I'm not everyone cup of tea, but I own it who I am, and I will go with it. Still working on that, absolutely, Jenny. It's constant work in progress for everyone, darling. Alexandra is with us. Awesome. Any questions for me? Anything that you're not sure about? Or anything you want to know? Oh, you're welcome, darling. Well, it's all saved for you. So if you want to go through it again, or if you have any questions, you know where to find me. Loads of love, and I'll speak to you soon.